I am great. How are you fellas this morning?
Doing
Oh,
just
awesome.
fine. Better for having you here.
Good, well, and swell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Baltimore is on the tear right now. You got the popular mayor. You got the football team. I forget their name. The Ravens, I think it is.
I
With
don't. I,
Really?
Super Bowl
I don't
bound.
have a dog in that fight.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, I enjoy watching the Ravens play. It's y'all at this point pretty much unstoppable as long as everybody's healthy. I mean, between the tight end, the running back, and the quarterback, it's really not much the league can do. It's must watch TV. So that's an
We
exciting
do
thing.
what we can.
Yeah,
We do what we
yeah,
can
yeah.
that's right.
for the rest of you who don't have the ability. You don't have what we have, and I get that.
Yeah,
You all
yeah.
can sit back
Yeah.
and enjoy the show.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting when the game, the Battle of the Beltways between Baltimore and Washington, right? So the Commanders versus the Ravens, and the two mayors put on the bet. And so DC has to acknowledge Mayor Brandon's birthday as a a local holiday, and we got to
Yes.
eat y'all crab cakes and house music appreciation, club music appreciation, which I'm all for it. But I
And
thought
you
that
know you want to.
yeah. Oh, I'm with it. I'm with it. I thought that was outstanding. I thought that was really, really, really good.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. The topic of conversation today is digital inclusion or the lack thereof. For the layperson, break down what does that even mean? What does digital inclusion mean, and the fact that you can be without it?
Okay. So let me start off by saying the problem is that there is a digital divide. Everybody recognizes that those who don't have tend to be without. That's the problem. The goal is digital equity, which is everybody has access to the resources, the programs, the devices they need to compete to enjoy their lives, to participate in democracy. But that's what digital equity is. Digital inclusion, those are the activities or the actions that we all participate in order to get to digital inclusion. Digital equity. So my office in Baltimore, I've been at the helm now since July of 2022. When the mayor said back in 2021, we're going to close the digital divide, he set up this office. Again, I came in 2022, and we've been rolling, just like our Ravens. We've been rolling.
Yeah.
We are distributing computers. We are setting up programs for folks to get training. But what's most important is what tends to happen in neighborhoods, especially in low-income neighborhoods with people of color, is there is a disinvestment of infrastructure. So you know what happens? You have the slowest internet, the fewest access, the least amount of access to programs to learn how to use the computer once and if you get it. And what happens if you need help? Are you really going to go and pay for a Geek Squad? Right. So we don't have some of the same resources. So how do we address that? Right now in the US, African Americans, 1 in 3 have a computer at home. 38% have access to the internet in their homes. So think about what that means. How many people can listen to you all if they don't have access to data?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Sister Kenya, it was fascinating just looking at the origins of your office. We all remember as if it were yesterday, although I guess at this point it's been nearing 5 years, maybe 4.5 years, the devastation of COVID, people in parking lots trying to get, and from what in this report, the Baltimore City Digital Inclusion Strategy is fascinating to see the kind of work you all did in such short order, standing up resources from that $35 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, and then very quickly transitioning, consolidating the office, streamlining it. Some of the facts were stunning. There are 300 miles of fiber in the city. And I know one of the things in looking over the 73-page report that you all did have is that you want to extend that fiber network. How important was it to take, I don't want to use the word advantage, how important was it to seize the moment of that crisis to rethink everything? And it seems like y'all got a lot of momentum out of that moment and have just kept it going.
So first, let me say, I love my boss. the director of Baltimore City Office of Information Technology, he did one thing that, if you're lucky, this happens to you in your career. He said, Kenya, keep going until I tell you to stop. So the first thing I did,
That need to
before
be
I
on a
even had the
t-shirt.
Yeah,
job,
That need to be on a t-shirt.
right?
Keep going till I tell
Before
you to
I
stop.
even
Pause.
had the job, I was doing other work in IT, and he said, look, kids can't get online. Kids don't have computers. What are we going to do? I reached out to every city agency to find out, do you have extra computers?
Wow.
We're going to donate. I don't care if they work or don't work. If they don't work, I'm going to send them over to a nonprofit where they can refurbish them and give them away. But that's the first thing that we did while the mayor was setting up this office. And so when you ask, how did we, and I hate to say it this way, but take advantage of COVID, we were able, and I got to be honest with you, we were not able to do this without the initial influx of ARPA dollars.
Yes.
Right? A lot of cities have been talking about this. But for the fact that we had millions of dollars in ARPA funds, could we take it and run with it? Be very transparent with you. Although folks are committed until COVID shut down schools.
No question.
Until older adults were unable to get out to their appointment, to get out to the market, until all of these things happened, until folks could not apply for a job, until all these things happened, there was just no investment across the country, really, in digital inclusion. So the first thing that we did was we got organized. To your point, Greg, first thing that we did is I got in. That was number one.
You look.
Really
I hear you laughing because you were in a completely. You were in the chief of grant and contract administration, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, actually, I would. I got to be honest with you. I am a jack of all trades.
I know that's right.
They call me the Olympic Pope of IT.
Okay.
So I was over there. I'm trying to tell you, my boss would say there's a problem with something. I need you to go over there and fix it.
Yes,
that was
ma'am.
my job.
Yes, ma'am.
So when this happened, he said, look, you know Baltimore. You're from Baltimore. What do we do? I told him what I would do, and I became. So there was already someone in the role. The mayor's office moved the office from the mayor to IT, and that was a game changer. But having 300 miles of fiber under the ground, what that means for Baltimore City residents is I can now pull fiber to homes. I can pull fiber to neighborhoods where there's never been fiber.
Wow.
Because right now, those 300 miles of fiber, they are only connecting government buildings.
And you got 200 plus of those, right?
We have a lot of those, 200 plus of those. That includes rec centers, senior centers, satellite office. There are a lot of buildings. So what we did, one, we created a parallel network.
Wow.
So wherever there is a city fiber, if you see, now you all know, in all kinds of neighborhoods, you'll see a crime camera. And we call them city watch cameras.
That's
here.
right. Yeah. That's right.
If you see a city watch camera, that means that city has infrastructure in that neighborhood. If I see a city watch camera, that means I can pull fiber to that neighborhood. So you know what we did? We pulled fiber to those neighborhoods. And now we have indoor and outdoor Wi-Fi at 48 of our 50 recreation centers. So if you are within 350 to 500 feet of a rec center, you can get our Wi-Fi network.
Wow.
In addition, we talked to our local Enoch Pratt Free Library in Baltimore City is a beast. I got to shout them out.
No question.
Because so you know, Greg.
Y'all lent us the Librarian of Congress. I mean, she came from Enoch Pratt, right? the current Librarian of Congress came from Enoch Pratt.
I wasn't going to mention that.
I'm just saying. I mean, shout out to Carla, Sister Carla, no question. Yeah.
Right. So what we did, I reached out to Enoch Pratt. They actually, prior to COVID, had already ordered extra computers. So I said, hey, can you lend them to the rec centers? So now all rec centers have computers. Need a computer? Go to the rec center. You need help? Go to the rec center. And then we can't leave out our older adults. We mirrored all of that in our senior centers. But I got to be honest with you. Our older adults said computers, laptops are great. We prefer tablets.
Okay.
And my team, we listened. So then we went back, and now we are deploying tablets to all of the senior centers. We're also teaching them how to use them. And how do you teach folks how to use computers? Now, you all tell me, if you've had a similar experience, but if somebody were to sit down right now and teach me how to do Lotus 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to remember. I can remember while I'm sitting there, but unless you do it regularly, you're not going to remember. So for our older adults, we're teaching them how to access their own medical records online, right? So you teach, right? You teach folks how, figure out what folks want to do, and then teach them how to do it online.
Yes.
This way, we increase participation online.
So you're basically taking a common sense approach to problem solving. That's what I'm hearing. So unusual. It's so unusual.
I'll tell you, we listen to our people though. So our residents tell us what they need.
Yeah.
We sit in a huddle, figure it out, and then we release it. I'll tell you something else that we did, which I think is game changing in Baltimore City. Of our millions of dollars, we set aside $5 million just for small grants. Because here's the thing, we're government.
Oh, yeah.
We can't do it all.
Right.
And a lot of folks don't trust government. I understand that. I absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
So we reached out to local organizations that were already doing really good work. They just needed some support.
There it is.
Created a grant program. We've given away almost $5 million in grants.
We saw a picture of you with some of the grantees. I don't know if it was from May 2023,
Yes.
but you were on stage with all these. And look at these regular black folk and regular folks from Baltimore who have received these grants. So what did they do with the money?
Okay. The first round, it was, what do you need the money for? As long as you were addressing the digital divide, you could apply. We had an internal evaluation process, but you could apply, you can get the money. Those groups, we set out one major goal. The first goal was 1,000 Baltimore City residents receive some kind of training. Our grantees in that first round, they knocked it out in the first couple of months. We have far exceeded that 1,000.
Wow.
So then we figured, okay, all right, so for our second round, we just want to focus on technical assistance and training. So that's what we geared our training, our funding for. We've got $1.8 million that we gave to roughly 10 organizations just to focus on training and technical assistance. And then what we did, because again, I don't know how other cities are situated, but in Baltimore City, there is a rec center or a senior center in just about every neighborhood. So we then asked those grantees in their application, choose a rec center or even a public housing community center to base your operations.
Right. Attach yourself to, right.
That we can get the information, get the resources into the community. We have a very hyper local approach in Baltimore City.
Yeah.
It's not top down. We don't do top down. So, it starts from the community.
To an earlier point about the broadband, I'm still stuck on that. So that was already there, the 300 miles?
Yes.
So
we've had 300 miles.
When was that installed?
Over the past 15, 20 years.
15,
so every time a new city building is erected or it's updated, we pull fiber to that building.
Got it. Okay.
So we already had that.
So being
able made it so much easier,
right? Being able to tap into that and use that's incredible for one. The second thing I want to talk about is back in December 2023, Mayor Brandon Scott, he made the announcement that it was a 5-year plan, and you talked about some of the key points for actionable goals that you mentioned: reliable, high-speed internet, technology and devices, digital skills training, and technical support. But you sound like you're off to the races and off and running. What and when do you measure how far you've come? If before the 5-year mark, what are the outcomes looking like?
So we actually have a report we're going to release in the next few weeks, which is the 1-year mark. So for us, our anniversary is always the October. It's Digital Inclusion Week, so we mark everything every October. So we will produce a report to give everybody an update on what we did in that first year. But I'll tell you, we have been, to your point, Lamont, we've been off to the races. We've got, again, great support from the city agencies, and most importantly, we get really good support from our residents. We've got residents. I've gone into the community to a community meeting, and the first thing they say is, "Where's William?" I got a guy on my staff, William Honolulu. This dude goes to every single community meeting if it exists. And let me tell you what I love about William.
Wow.
He does not drive. He hops on the bus.
My man.
He gets in an Uber.
He's a man of the people.
Oh,
yes,
This
sir.
brother is all over the city, and he talks to so many people. So by the time I get in the room, they're like, "You're fine. I appreciate you being here, but where's William?"
Where's William?
That's my chapter brother.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's why I'm laughing.
Where's
Is he
William?
really?
Yes. So yeah, everything you're
Servants of
saying,
all,
I know
literally.
very well. Yes.
Literally, servants of all.
He is that guy.
He's a man.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Did not know that.
Can-
Small
it-
world.
Yeah. Yeah.
so Kenya, how it's interesting reading in the report, that gap was so striking. 73% of white households have broadband access. Only half are black, and just a little less half of our Spanish-speaking community, Hispanic community. But also just having desktop laptops, and now it sounds like tablets. 80% of white households, and only 60% of black, and 47.5% of Hispanic. That sixth strategy, that long-term strategy, which involves leveraging dollars and resources. What kind of lessons have you all learned and can share with, although you've already shared a great number of them, for cities and other places around the country in terms of closing that gap? This is the racial gap. And you had the nerve to put in here that it's 300 years that led to this. But I mean, that is quite striking. I mean, going forward, is this, there needs to be an investment, obviously, of resources. How do you manage that as someone
Absolutely.
who knows everything in the city? You've worked in all these different areas, in public, private, and certainly with the city of Baltimore. Where do resources going forth play a role in this work, and how do you identify resources, city budgets, state, federal support?
Well, to your much earlier point, COVID helped because it loosened much needed federal, state, and local dollars, right? So that helped tremendously. But as those resources are beginning to wane and run out, we now have to be a lot more thoughtful about how we get resources in. So for instance, right now, digital inclusion or digital equity is what everybody's talking about. But let's talk about digital equity as it relates to housing, right?
Ooh.
So if you are out there and you are working on housing issues, right? What we know nowadays is most applications for housing, for instance, for Section 8 housing, you got to go online and apply. So the same who qualify are the same folks who are least likely to have the resources to go online and apply.
Got it.
Right? So as we're thinking about any of the issues that are really plaguing our inner cities, think about not the digital equity issue specifically, but how it relates to any other issue that you're dealing with. So for instance, we know workforce development is one of the number one issues. I would call them intersectionality between workforce development and digital equity. You want a job, you go online, fill out the application. But here's the thing, and we know that this has happened. You can get the job. Congratulations, you got the job. Your job is now online.
Ooh.
Oh crap. I don't have reliable internet.
Right.
My internet fluctuates throughout the day. I got 5 other people in my house, and because we're all online, I don't have the strongest signal. We've heard stories where folks have lost their job because they have not been able to participate fully online. So it's not just about getting the job. That's super important. It's also about keeping the job. And then once you get the job, you can keep the job. How do you advance in your career? There's all types of online resources that you can take. We know this. But if you don't have those resources, you can't connect. So if you're out there and you're working on workforce issues, you want to think about how to get digital equity dollars, look at the intersectionality of those two issues and go after workforce issues or workforce dollars with a digital equity focus. That's where I'm thinking the money is going to come from in the future. To your question, Greg, it's looking at the intersections of all of these issues.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, y'all know about that book, The Black Butterfly?
Oh yeah.
Familiar.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. If you take a look at that black butterfly in Baltimore City,
Yes. Yes.
every single,
So
I'll let you speak on it, Greg.
no. It's so striking. No question. The harmful politics of race and the pull Baltimore, like you just see it. It's almost like they drew this thing. But please go ahead, Kenny. Please.
No, so, and I'm sure this is true in other cities, right? But if there's a map
Mm-hmm.
of Baltimore City that shows where there are low workforce development or low employment. There is low digital equity. There's low housing or no housing or subpar housing. All of the isms that face pretty much African Americans in urban areas. In Baltimore, it's the shape of a butterfly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. So when we started this work, one of the first things we did, we pulled up that map. Where are we going to focus first? So for other cities that are out there that want to figure out how to get started, a couple things. And number one, you got to have the resources, not just the money resources, but also the people. I have an amazing team. I have an absolutely amazing team. I've already said I love my boss. My mayor, anytime we do an event around digital equity, my mayor has actually taken the microphone and been he's actually
he does
managed.
that. He does that.
No, there's a picture of him in the report with the
that's what he
microphone
does.
with his sister, and he's got the microphone in the report y'all issued. I'm
yeah.
saying this dude is he's the host now. He's got the
I love my mayor.
Yeah.
I love my mayor. My mayor's no joke. He is so committed to this work.
But
if we say, look, there's a need, he leans in.
Yeah.
But in the report you talked about, y'all talk with over 2,000 residents, stakeholders, community, or just the number of people itself is stunning. You talk like you talk about hyper local. My goodness, and they all participated. Huh?
Yeah.
And you know what? And we didn't do it all on our own. The planning department. So for other cities out there, the planning department was having community meetings. We jumped in. Hey, add a digital equity lens. We'll be there.
Yeah.
Right? Public housing, they were holding meetings. Hey,
Can
we add a digital equity lens to your meetings? Yeah. And we were there. So we were able to get all this feedback.
That's important.
And we had William.
It's important that we had William. That's important because a quote from the mayor is this: digital equity is not just about technology, it's also about social equity, and closing the digital divide is one of the biggest civil rights issues of our lifetime. Because everything that every aspect, every angle that you just presented, there's a digital component to it. Even if we're talking something as small as promotion and getting you to come to the meeting. I mean, we live online. So if you're behind the curve on that, you're not even, you talk about inclusion, you're not included in what everybody else is doing in everyday life. So that's super important. So that's big. That's a big deal. I like it.
Look at our entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Can you sell your goods on Etsy? Can you launch your own business?
Right.
If you don't have high quality, and it's not just about having the availability, it's about the affordability.
Right.
You all know the U.S. has some of the highest internet costs in the world. I mean, when you think about it, there are so many barriers to our residents getting access. Let's remove all these barriers.
Yeah. So there's somebody listening right now who knows someone that's without or being left behind, or there's somebody right now who knows someone that could benefit from those organizations that got the grant money. How would they connect? How would they get plugged in?
You can start with our website. If you have access to the internet, you can start with our website. BaltimoreCity.gov/technology. We have the list of all of our grantees from the first round and the second round. Then there's also a local organization called the Baltimore Digital Equity Coalition. I gotta say, they are pretty badass. Early on in COVID, I'm going to say it, early on in COVID, that organization started from a number of workforce development organizations that said, hey, our students can't get online. So if you're out there and you need resources, reach out to us. reach out to the Baltimore Digital Equity Coalition. And there are a number of other smaller, again, hyper local around here. There are a number of local places. Go to your local recreation center and tell them, hey, that lady Kenya was on the radio and she said to give her a call. Walk into your recreation center and tell them to reach out to BSIT. I will happily show up at a meeting.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right.
Wow. Y'all built different in Baltimore.
Yeah, there it is.
This is how you are a true public servant, right? This is what we're hearing. This is how it works.
Yeah.
It's not a mystery. Everybody listening, if you in a city and it doesn't work like this, this is what
reach out to that lady Kenya, because she'll put you on game.
She's not getting on the game, not getting on a plane. She's Baltimore's own.
Reach out to her.
Wow, this is
I won't lie. It's because of the work we've been doing that really motivated the Ravens to show up like they have.
I see how you tied that
It
together.
was us that motivated.
Yeah. Because if not for you, yes,
their working class spirit.
Is there a digital divide aspect to the jumbotron? Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. All right, there it is. The Director of Broadband and Digital Equity for the Baltimore City Office of Information and Technology. That lady, Kenya Asli.
Yeah,
thank you for stopping by this morning.
So much.
And shooting the gift with us. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and there'll be more after this on Urban View Mornings.